Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dragon Talk. I am Greg Tito, and I'm joined by...
Me?
Shelly Mazzanoble.
Mazzanoble.
Yeah, I feel like that was to the tune of Hero by Mark Anthony.
Nice.
Yeah. You will be my hero.
That was
Shelly
really
Mazzanoble.
That was a really good Mark Anthony
It's pretty good, right? Yeah.
impression.
I always thought it because, I always thought he was eating those Greek sandwiches, not actually...
Oh, like a euro.
Yeah, but not a hero. Yeah, that's how he says it.
Yeah.
It's happening. We play heroes and heroines in Dungeons and Dragons. I can't make it go. There's no segue there. But it's exciting to have you guys here. We're going to be calling up Celeste Conowitch.
Also exciting.
Yes, from the Venture Maidens. She was in the podcast of Annihilation and her entire crew last week. Pretty exciting.
I see us.
We can see ourselves now. Yeah.
Why?
We're also recording this on Twitch
Look at my
live.
posture.
We do this on Mondays, starting at like 2 p.m. Pacific time. So twitch.tv/DND for those of you in podcast land listening to this. And for those of you on Twitch, hi, how are you?
Hi.
Good to see you.
Hello.
Good to see you podcast people too. You're all good people, no matter how you listen or hear or watch or do all the things at the same time. Speaking of things, are you playing Tomb of Annihilation out there? Because everyone can play it now. It is in stores. It's in, you can order it online. You can buy it from Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds or D&D Beyond. Did you know this? It's available wherever you get stuff from Dungeons and the Dragons. It's pretty cool.
It's everywhere.
People are playing it like crazy. I keep seeing lots of people tweeting it out. So that's amazing. If you want to show me a picture of your group playing through it, go for it. I love the idea. The green devil face, people are putting the book up to their face and like yelling on the other side of it, which I think is also really cool. I've been trying to retweet those. I think Teos actually started that Alpha Stream. He was the one who was like, I'm trying to get more people to do this, and he was very smart.
Good job.
One of our awesome Adventurers League writers, as well as a wonderful dungeon master in his own right.
We should do that.
We should. I don't know why. You know what? That's dumb. Why haven't I done that?
I don't know.
I've just been retweeting it, but I'm like, I do own a copy of this book as well.
And you scream all the time.
I do a lot of open mouth screaming because I'm usually excited about things. I'm like, all the time.
Yeah, like a Muppet.
We have a whole bunch of fun stuff coming out on the Twitch channel. I'm not going to go through it all right now, but if you were interested in more and different shows coming on, doing Stream of Annihilation-ish stuff, you can check it out. We got High Rollers. We've got Roosters and Dragons as a new show. One Grung Above is a show that Chris Lindsay's doing with a lot of the same crew from when his Stream of Annihilation game. Good stuff. He loves those Grung. He loves frog people.
Yep.
I wonder what that means.
Not sure about
his
turtles,
psyche.
But
He doesn't. Well,
I don't
turtles
know
are
if
cool.
He's a turtle guy.
No,
I feel like if you like grung, why wouldn't you like a turtle?
I mean, anthropomorphic amphibians and reptiles all get together and hang out. I
feel like they'd be in the same section at the zoo.
Exactly, and the UNT will be there too.
Yeah,
like so, snakes, turtles, all hanging out together, having fun, having a beer.
Probably.
Yeah, just drinking some water, sitting on a log, saying it's not easy being a red grung. This is like the singing a musical podcast so far this episode.
Well, our guest has a theater background.
Does she?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like now at this point, I'm going to go really high and then say like 90% of the people we talk to have some kind of theater background. It comes up.
Or upstate New York.
Or upstate New York.
Or both.
Yeah. They're two, centers of our world.
Yep.
I just did a tour of the boat that goes on the Joko cruise just for the fun of it, just to check and see what it's all about.
It's just docked here, just hanging out?
It was just docked here, yeah. It's going north, but then, and then it goes to the south in the wintertime. But the person who led us on that tour is an awesome lady, and she had a theater background. She's like, oh, yeah, I went to school for musical theater. I'm like,
really?
Of course you did.
Does she work on a cruise ship singing?
No. She does PR. She does like publicity and PR.
Yeah, it's a good career for a theater person.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You and I. And everybody else out there. Obviously.
So did you really do stand-up while you were on the boat?
No, that was just a joke. It was a stand-up joke.
Good, because I was mad that you would do it and not tell me.
All those empty seats.
I'm such a good laugher. I am so good to have in the audience for a stand-up show.
Nice. I will ask you when I make my triumphant return to the microphone. I will make sure you're there. I don't want to see you, though.
No, I'll be in the back.
Yeah, just be in the back. I don't want to have... Yeah.
I'll
hear you.
Around.
I have to invite you and Chris Lindsay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time laugher. Distinctive laugh.
Did you get a norovirus when you were on that JoJo cruise?
Well, yes, and
now...
you have to make a con save. Oh, you just got the norovirus.
I got 18.
All right, fine. Maybe you're okay. I think you might be safe. Whew. But you did just touch. I just had the norovirus.
That's
you just
not
touched
fun.
it. I trapped you.
I seriously have like a touch of anxiety right now just even talking about it.
If you're gonna spew into this. No. Did you guys Wayne's World reference? Nobody? Anybody? Anywho, we are excited about Podcasts of Annihilation and all the diseases that you can get on cruise ships and in the jungles of Chult.
Yep.
There's lots of them. There's mad monkey disease. Don't make it happen in your
death plague.
There's a death plague. No,
I think I'd rather have
the death curse.
Spell. Death curse.
The spell plague. Death curse.
The death spell. Can I cast the death spell?
I mean, you can cast Finger of Death if you were, able to cast 9th level spells. So yeah, the Podcast of Annihilation has been out. They're on our Dungeon Delve feed, which is different than our Dragon Talk feed, and it's also now on Google Play. So you should go check out all the episodes that awesome people made about those. There was Nerd Poker, Taking Initiative, and Counter Roleplay, Dungeon Rats / God's Fall, Sneak Attack, Drunks and Dragons, Venture Maidens, who Celeste is on right now. We'll be talking more about her. Dungeon Drunks, D&D is for Nerds, You Meet in a Tavern, and we're going to be talking to Adam. And another person from D&D is for Nerds at the end of this at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So you guys are awesome. And those of you who are listening to this in podcast form, you'll be able to listen to that probably next week.
You Meet in a Tavern is still like really one of the best names I've
It's
ever heard.
Name.
Why didn't we call our podcast that?
Because then would imply that we're actually drinking instead of that we're fake drinking.
People already think we are.
This vodka is so good.
Oh my God.
It's Tito's vodka, just throwing it out there. Those of you who are listening may still be able to watch Extra Life when it comes out. It's on November 4th. We'll be playing a whole bunch of Dungeons & Dragons. I will be hosting kind of from here while throwing it to different places all around the country. On November 3rd, they'll be starting.
You're like a regular old Ryan Seacrest.
I'm trying. But isn't he? He's on like the Today Show or something now, isn't he?
Kind of sold out.
No, he's on like the Kelly.
Ripa.
I know. See, I always wanted to be, I think I'm the Kelly Ripa, and you're the.
So you're like the diva that drives everyone away.
Yeah, and you're the Michael Strahan, Regis Philbin.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have a good reputation.
I don't.
Saying.
Really?
No.
Oh, dang it! Is that true?
I feel like that would be more me.
Okay, you can be the Kelly Ripa.
Ryan?
You can be the Kelly.
Not
I thought
a nice person.
See. Wait, who's the Hoda? Who's the Hoda?
I would be the Hoda.
You're the Hoda, and
you're the Kathy Lee.
I'm the drunk. You're the.
They're both kind of drunk.
I guess that's true.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
We share that role.
Why can't we just
share that burden?
Can't we just be the Shelley and Greg of who we are?
Stick with that.
All right. Gosh. But
sorry, I keep distracting you.
Extra Life is going to be super fun. We're already more than halfway to our goal. We got more than $25,000 raised out there.
D&D community.
It's good stuff. A lot of it has to do with the Turtle package, which you can get on the Dungeon Masters Guild right now. Everything that Wizards of the Coast would get from that package is going towards our Extra Life total. It's a total amount of money that's going.
It's totally crazy.
It's totally crazy.
Wow.
But it's super fun. The package itself details what it's like to have a turtle as a player race. If you don't know what turtles are, they're basically anthropomorphic turtles. Turtles. They're awesome, and they all go to this one place in the peninsula of Chult for spawning purposes, and that's like their settlement. It's a sewer. They eat pizza there. They have one rat friend.
Do they wear bandanas?
They wear bandanas. They have a guy with a hockey mask.
I know all these characters.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, nice. It's awesome, and the team here did a great job putting it together. And you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with turtles out there. Plus, you also get to help kids, so nothing wrong there. D&D Beyond has been out. They also have the Turtle package if you want to get it there in digital form. I suggest you check that out. Tales from Candlekeep is an amazing game that is essentially the board game of Tomb of Annihilation that our friends WizKid is making. It's the adventure system games, so like Castle Ravenloft or Wrath of Ashardalon and Legend of Drizzt and the Elemental Evil one. There's another one. It's Tomb of Annihilation. It's going to be a physical board game. You can purchase that in stores. But Tales from Candlekeep is the digital version of that board game, and that will be out in October, and I'm pretty psyched about that. Good stuff from our friends BCom who make our website. Just throwing that out there. Also, Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms is in early access right now. You can get it on Steam, and it's you send your guys out on adventures. They kill monsters, they collect loot, and it all happens in real time. Ooh. So you can optimize them, move them around, turn stuff. You get like bonuses by having people adjacent to each other or not, and then walk away. You can just let it run all night long. And get all the gold and then come back the next day and level them all up. Fun little game for little bite-sized amounts of time. Or you can spend tons of time in there, but you can play it the way you want to play. You can play it.
You be you.
You be you. Betrayal of Baldur's Gate is coming out October 6th.
It's on your list?
Yeah, of course it is. Have we not talked about it before on this podcast? I feel like we're always forgetting to talk about it.
It's not usually on your official list.
It's totes
Thanks,
goats.
Pelham.
Yeah, way to go, Pelham.
Thank you.
And
that's soon.
The Axis and Allies, the anniversary edition is coming October 20th. Is that right?
That's right.
Nice.
Yeah, it's my dad's birthday.
Ooh, are you going to get him one of those
Axis
copies?
And Allies anniversary edition.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Yep.
Right? You're going to buy it, right?
Yeah. Of course I am. What do you think?
Get it for him. It's good stuff. Also, we have lots of good streaming stuff happening on here. I mentioned all that. It's amazing. And we'll be giving more and more news for everything that's be coming out in those channels on the Twitches, making it happen. All right, I think we've done enough announcements now, and I think we should call up Celeste. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
But first, we have to go to a segment. Yeah. Let's listen to some lore and or some sage advice.
Okay.
Right about now.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. Someone in here said, Kelly Ripa is a saint. How dare you?
Oh!
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You, Rudy, is not happy with you right now.
Rudy?
Yes.
Like
Rudy? No, the name was you, Rudy.
Well, look, Kelly Ripa was on All My Children. That's how.
Was she really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Way back in the day when I was watching it.
Oh.
And I loved her. She was awesome.
But
she
now?
played Adam Chandler's daughter. His wayward daughter, Haley. She just showed up one day and she had this black wig on and she was supposed to be punk rock.
Oh, I remember that character.
Yeah, that was her.
Yeah, I liked her.
She was good.
Yeah. Then what
No.
happened? Then
just
Regis got a hold of her and
Regis ruined her.
ruined her.
Just like you ruined me.
It's true. Okay. Now we're back to comparing us to talk show hosts.
Can't help it.
And doing a terrible job of it. All right. Thank you guys. That was a really good segment. I'm glad you got to listen to it. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
I'm 90% sure Ryan is still recording this.
Are you?
No. Dang it. He is not.
Brian has quit just now?
Are we really recording? Can we do the midtro? Are we actually doing it? Nice. Good. We happen to it's making it happen. So that means that we can call up Celeste right now and talk to her. Oh. I like how I can just say things and then it happens. It's amazing. Thank you, Ryan. You're a good person.
Yep.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hey, Celeste.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you folks?
Great, now that you're here.
It's true.
Oh, thank you.
Don't leave me
Thank
alone
you.
with Tito. Not again.
I won't. I'm here. I promise.
It gets crazy up in here. It's nuts out.
Yes, welcome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
happy to be here.
Oh, and just so if you want to save on bandwidth, Celeste, you can get rid of your video. Not necessary because we got your awesome picture up here, and which we could actually see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey.
There
perfect.
you go. I'm gonna get a little bit here. Why don't we cheat a little bit closer because we got a lot of the dead space here.
I
And
like looking. It's
Yeah.
very distracting.
nice.
That's my face. You're welcome, everyone.
That is you.
Not the dead
You are a
space,
real person.
by the way.
I am. Not just a voice behind a mirror.
Nice. So you are the dungeon master for Venture Maidens. You also are pretty much the organizer of everything that goes on there, right?
I am, yes. I'm the editor, content creator, and the dungeon master for the Venture Maidens podcast.
How long have you guys been running?
So we actually hit a year, I think a couple months ago, because we actually started this whole thing on Brittany Quintero, who is our artistic director and one of our players. It was on her birthday that I sent this text to everyone. So it'll be marked in our memories for all time.
Nice. What was the text? Was it like, did it have Venture Maidens in the text of it?
No, I hadn't decided what it was called yet at that point. I think I was a few whiskeys in, and I was like, guys, you know what we should do? A podcast. This is great. Oh my God. And it was a long paragraph text that I sent to everyone.
Nice.
And luckily they said yes, so here we are.
All of them?
All of them
That's
immediately said yes.
That was some text.
Yeah.
See, I have to drink more when I'm at work. I could probably be a lot more persuasive.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
+5 to persuasion.
For sure. So you're also responsible for why some of these fair maidens play D&D, right?
I am, yeah. I think actually I taught all of them how to play
Wow.
Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. Way back. We all go a pretty long ways back. I've been friends with all of them. I think Sage is the least amount for 3 years. But the rest of them, I mean, Nassim and I have been friends all the way since high school, and I'm not going to give you a number on that to date myself. But
it's 475.
it's been a long time. Yep, I'm a lich.
You're a
I've been around
Sararak.
forever.
I love it.
The secret's revealed. Hello.
You're from Oerth. It makes perfect sense now. That's very cool. So when did you start playing Dungeons and Dragons then? What was your origin story?
So my origin story, I fell in love with Dungeons and Dragons when I was about 10 years old, when my grandma moved into my house and she had a bunch of boxes from my uncle that had been packed away and just filled in the garage. And she's like, all right, I'm finally getting rid of all this junk. So if anybody wants to look around, whatever. So I remember digging through those boxes in the garage and opening up one. And inside was a red box.
Nice.
With a bunch of AD&D books and modules and old Dragon magazines, and that was sort of the beginning. So AD&D was actually what started me.
That's cool.
On this path.
What were they left over from? Who owned them previously?
Uncle.
So it was my uncle. Yeah, when he used to play in college, so he collected all this stuff, and when he moved out, he didn't take it with him. So I actually still have it all filling my shelves to this day.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Having the artifacts. I asked my brother where he got it, because that was just very similar. Like it was just like I found it one day, and
like D&D finds you.
We don't know where the actual book is that I was my in either. But
where did he find it?
He says he might have inherited from a neighbor. Like there was definitely a part of our our block growing up. There were older people, and they just basically were like, "Here's a bunch of clothes and hand-me-down stuff," and he thinks it was in there because they don't have a memory of buying it. They're 8-9 years older than me, so they were.
It just appears. I want to be that person that when like 20, 30 years from now, people are talking about how they got into D&D, and I want them to say, "There's this strange lady that lived down the block."
She did it. She cast a spell on me.
Some kind of sorcery.
It was super cool. When I found the books, I had, those old hexagon grid sheets that were just filled out with these old maps that my uncle had actually run through. And I got a bunch of those old character sheets too. So I still have, I don't even remember the name, but there's the half-elf ranger that, Uncle, if you ever want to play again, boy, oh boy, do I still have that.
Does he know you have that? I was going to ask.
He does. So he actually, was in the gaming community for a while, running a D&D blog and going around. So it's sort of in the blood in a way.
How fun.
He's been asking for them back, but he also lives on the East Coast. So
he wants them back. Oh,
You're like, I'll get photocopies.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, here you go.
That's awesome. So did he stop playing then? He was active and then.
Yeah, he's had a few kids since then, so it's hard. But I fully expect. Actually, for the last couple holidays, I've gotten together with my folks, and they've all asked me to run D&D games for them. So
No way.
actually, running for my uncles, my aunts, especially because now they're finally starting to understand what Venture Maidens is as a podcast. So they've asked to be more involved, which is really cool.
That is cool.
Really nice.
Yeah. Get him back in the swing of it. So you found these books, you found all these like artifacts, and then what was the next step? Did you start just pouring through it and reading it, and when did you actually start playing?
Yeah, so I've been a pretty big pulp fantasy fiction reader for all of my life, but my family moved around a lot, so it was really hard for me to make friends. I just wasn't really great with people, so it was actually a few years before I was able to convince anyone to actually play with me. But the first game I ran through, I think I had my younger sister, I cornered her and a couple of her friends, and I ran an AD&D game for them, which didn't go well, of course. And then my first real campaign that I got to run was, again, way back in high school, a 3-5 game where we ran for about 2 years. And that was actually my first game, which was all the ladies of the drama department in my high school. So I ran for like about 8 of them. Wow. And that was the first long-term campaign that I ever ran.
Wow, that's cool. All right, so going back, why didn't the game with your sisters work? Was it just because you were figuring out the game, or? You
know, I tried to give her everything. I remember I gave her a tiny dragon, and she just hated it so much. She played in the big family game before, but also just, it's so hard when you start as a new DM. And I just want everybody to know that DMing for your first time never goes well. It just doesn't. It's hard. And I look back on those days and wish I could run a game for all the people I ran my first 5 or 6 games for. Yeah. I promise I'm better now.
They probably don't remember it that way as being bad. I think DMs probably put more pressure on themselves.
Maybe. It was pretty bad.
Shelley's talking from experience.
Yeah.
She does the same thing.
My game really was bad. They told me after.
They're like, this was bad.
They do remember it as bad.
Yeah.
The D&D team was like, you know what? Here's all these ways to improve.
How about you go work on Evelyn Hill now?
Oh, no, that's not what happened at all.
Yeah, it is.
We all start somewhere.
It's true.
And end somewhere.
I know.
Yes,
so it sounds like you are mostly always have been the dungeon master. Are you ever a player as well, or do you prefer DMing?
I have a really great group of friends that we pretty consistently for a while, we've been playing games on every Sunday, and we have a rotational order. So I do have a lot of other friends. So Sage, for example, is a great, she DMs in the Roto for a real life group. But I would say for me, it's probably about 80% DM, 20% PC.
Do you prefer?
But I do get the joy once in a while.
Just to sit back and let someone else do all the work.
Yeah, just play my wizards and shoot some magic missiles. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Hells to the yeah. So do you think you like dungeon mastering over playing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, not overplaying. I enjoy both very thoroughly, but I think the more I DM, I think the worse of a PC I become because I DM so much. And then I become really sensitive to what the DM is like. So I'm always that player like, guys, we need to focus. Like, go through the story. Like, let's look at the puzzle. I'm like, that's not, the best fun times coordinator.
I actually think that's good. Like, they say everybody should work in a restaurant at least once in their life, and then you have a completely new respect for the people who are, yep, I've done it. But every player should you should try DMing just because you will have a whole new appreciation for what your dungeon master is going through.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The good people, man.
I'm that player though now too. I find the instigator who's always trying to push it forward.
Right.
But trying to think about oh guys, there's things that we need to. I can see the plot threads that are there.
Right. Well, when you especially start reading modules and stuff too, and you look at the structures of adventures, and you realize there's so much there and so much to explore, it really encourages you to have that explorative, let's push it forward, let's keep going. I want to investigate. It's an inquisitive mind that you develop, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thinking about which story makes the most sense to go with at any moment and things like that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you were a theater person, and we talked to a large percentage of the folks that we talked to end up being theater people, and so props to the theater.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I've got a weird little sort of niche. I studied classical theater, and specifically only for the stage. So a lot of the theater kids I run into, they're like, "Hey, I'm a theater kid." I'm like, "Great, me too." And then we don't have a lot to talk about when it goes to musicals or big productions. I'm like, I would love to tell you a Shakespeare sonnet, my boy, but that's not the general interest.
Oh, so it's not like Theripides and all the Aeschylus and all the the actual classical theater.
Absolutely. You want to talk to me about Medea? Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
But so Grecian and then Shakespearean, but that's sort of where my dime stopped.
Nothing after 1700.
Oh well, no. I mean, you've got your Beckett's and you've got your throw in a little. Also, the theater of the absurd is a passion of mine. Existentialism, makes for a great dungeon master.
I did a production of Ubu Raw in college.
Oh,
which
that's an amazing show.
It still haunts me to
Did
this
you do
day.
the puppets?
We went insane. Honestly, there was no. Yeah, there were puppets. There was a puppetry department at the University of Connecticut. So
there you go.
they leaned into that a lot. Yeah, it was like there was the University of Hawaii and UConn were the only two places that we knew of at the time that did an undergrad puppetry degree.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they leaned into that like crazy, and we went even nutso into the Ubu Raw part of it. Like the guy who ran it, who was also a role player, of course.
Of course.
He basically created a cult for like 3 months where
The cult of Ubu.
yeah,
Yes,
where we
absolutely.
weren't allowed to talk about what happened in the rehearsals.
Very Fight Club.
He was very
is.
Fight Clubby, and people were like, "What is going on? What are you guys doing?" And we're like, "I don't know. It's insane."
I don't know.
And I think I actually went nuts
I'm
for a
just
while.
the dungeon master. I don't know. I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then later on, I realized they were all into way more drugs than I was at the same. So it was there was a lot of there was all that as well. But it was interesting as a college experience. I don't think I would want to do it in a professional life, but it was yeah.
That one time in
Yeah.
college.
And then the people I still talk to who went to school with me will be like, "Oh God, you remember Ubu and that nuts?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was."
How could I
We
not?
don't talk about it.
We don't talk about
Are
it.
you allowed to talk about it?
I'm
now?
allowed- well, I
Are you
guess
gonna
I
be
just-
in trouble because you just talked about it.
I know, right?
Ryan, you got to edit out that whole part.
He's gonna find me.
Greg's gonna get hurt.
Nope.
I know.
NDA.
We got friend DA'd. Yeah.
Bad.
So yeah.
But I love the theater, and that there's these interminglings between role playing in a gaming sense with fantasy, and then the folks who do it now on a more performance level. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just amazing to see.
Well, I think for me in particular, because I'm not doing much on the stage now since Venture Maidens has begun, I feel like this has actually become a perfect marriage of my theater background and my lifelong passion for RPGs. Because every week you're creating a story, right? And you're creating this situation and engaging a bunch of other people and inviting them to be in the space and to, it's not all the bluster and fuss of performing on a stage or making a whole production. It's very real. It's sort of refining what you do in the theater to a more human, personal level, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, and you get just as drained.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As you would being on stage for 3 hours or something like
if
that.
anybody follows me on Twitter, they know I'll just send out all these tweets about, oh my gosh, I can't sleep after that last game. I'm just like head is spinning. Oh my god.
It's true. It really does
okay.
take it all out of you.
A 6-pack helps.
of wine, I hope, right?
Oh God. I'm not looking to die, but half a bottle or a 6-pack, pick
I
your
know.
poison.
Shelley
Or a full
knows.
bottle, who am I kidding?
No,
If
you're-
you've watched the Venture Maidens on Twitch, you know.
Lots of sips here and there. So yeah, did you guys always do podcasts, or did you transition into doing more stuff on the Twitch as well?
We started with everything,
Huh?
which was, God, I can't believe we're still alive to this day. So we started from the beginning. We figured out how to live stream. None of us had ever podcasted before or ran live streams or done any of that. But I was like, okay, we're going to do the live stream. We're going to record it. We're going to put it on YouTube. And then we're also going to make a podcast. And here we go. All right, how do we do it?
It's a great way to learn, I guess.
Yeah, it was a pretty intense experience,
Yep.
but we are still standing here to this day, much older and wiser.
What
about
have
how
you
to
learned?
develop
What have you learned?
Yeah, asking for a friend.
how it goes,
Right.
how microphone work, basic concepts there. But then also, I think in the beginning, we really had to adjust our play style a lot. I mean, I'm used to running these, you sit down with your friends on a Friday night, 3-4 hours, you drink, you hang out, and it's a very casual sort of running a game. But when you're in an environment where you have an hour and a half to play, and you have that hour and a half, and you have people watching you, you have to move the plot, and you have to get enough content to turn into a great podcast episode, that's a huge challenge for a dungeon master.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So keeping that pace running, but also staying true to the fact that, I've never wanted to be that person who's like, we're just doing it for the performativity. I want my players to have a great time. I want us to have that real flavor of like being around a table and playing a game. So it's been an interesting balance for us all to develop.
There is a thing where it's like it's not just people sitting around a table and mouthing off. Like you have a performative aspect to it, in that you're like, all right, well, here we are. There is an audience, and you kind of have to do that too. But you're right, you don't want to lose the naturalness of being a group of friends.
Yeah. And I think Venture Maidens in particular, I think we managed to do a really good job preserving that. I think that's one of the reasons people enjoy us. We don't do a lot of like grand production, and we are very true. And sometimes, we get a little messy. Sometimes it's not exactly what you expect, but it's all very honest, which I think is one of the big appeals of the Venture Maidens podcast.
I think so. In listening to the episode for Podcast of Annihilation, I was impressed with your cursing skills. The entire cast. It was like,
and we went light because we knew you were going to do that.
Really?
You should tune in. Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if they're like going more, because it seemed.
We're not doing it up. I promise you. I know one of my aunties listens to the podcast, and she told me that, and I'm like, wait, really? She's like, yeah, it's great. It's a great story, but you guys just curse so much. And I'm like, oh God. Yeah. It's sort of part of the culture of being gamers. I don't know. It's,
well, I mean, I don't know if that's true. I mean, I think everybody. I think it's just I liked that you guys were doing it as you would around the table. Like that's
right, absolutely.
That was one of the things that made me feel like, okay, yeah, this is just a group of friends playing.
That's 100% the flavor we like to capture in our podcast, and that's not going anywhere for the Venture Maidens.
Nice, yeah, good. Put your flag in that.
Yep,
this is our brand.
Get it.
So when you sent out that initial text, were you guys already playing together and you just decided to do it as a podcast, or had you not had this group together?
So Sage and Brittany and I had been playing in a game that actually lasted 3.5 years. I was running this campaign. This is when we all lived in San Francisco. But then Brittany moved down south, and then I moved up north, and so our gaming group sort of disbanded. So it was about 6 months later that I sent out this text. And I honestly, a big motivation for that too was like, hey, we've all been friends for a really long time. We've played some great D&D. Why don't we do this crazy thing and get it back together and start a new campaign and let other people watch it?
Getting the band back together.
Yeah. Yep. All stars from across the coast.
Sweet. So how many? So you guys all call in from different parts around the country?
So we're all in California, but we're all up and down the coast.
Got it.
So we're all about a day's drive away from each other in California still.
Do you guys try to meet?
Easy.
Yeah. Do you try to meet up occasionally, so it's not just over the interwebs?
We haven't actually all been in the same room together yet to record a session, but every once in a while, everybody will make trips up and down. And like Brittany and I just went to Gen Con, actually, so that was really cool. We got to go and hang out for a week and hang out at Gen Con. But yeah, that's crazy. The four of us haven't been in a room recording together. This entire time.
What would happen?
I know, right?
I know.
The wine would flow.
Yeah.
My God, it would be a mess. It would be a hot, beautiful mess.
This must happen.
So
it must.
Is this like your vision, like when you initially conceived of the idea, or has it morphed into something different?
It has morphed into something that I'm so proud of what we're doing. I don't think I could have conceived of how well we could have done this. I was just sort of like, a fun time excuse to play D&D with my friends, and maybe people will like it. But now, we have this great community surrounding us, and we're making just this amazing content and being involved in projects like the Podcast of Annihilation project that brought me here today. It's just been so much more than I ever could have imagined.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, man. I'm right there with you.
I know, right? I mean, it's also just nuts. I mean, I when I talk to people about, the state of Dungeons and Dragons in the world too, you're like, where did we get to this place? Because I mean, when you found those books that your uncle, I bet there was a little bit, you're a little bit surreptitious about it, and you were like, oh gosh, nobody knows about this thing. And then now it's talked about everywhere, and there's I don't know. It blows my mind.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been playing D&D for 15 plus years, and it's just incredible to see how much the community has shifted and changed. And now with the advent of, you can watch D&D on Twitch, you can talk to people on the internet, you can enjoy your campaigns and share all of that around. It's crazy. I mean, when I picked up that, that red box, I had no idea what D&D was. And then I got to learn like the backstory and all of this huge history around the game. But it's become this cool titan force of pop culture these days that is just incredible to see and participate in.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you're participating in it too. And now I want to know, I mean, you guys do a like homebrew world, right?
We do, yes. So I make up the world. I use, of course, all the core rule books and then throw in a lot of extra stuff.
Yeah.
And I play it pretty loose and fast with the rules from time to time. But it's so I actually in all the years I've been DMing for that group that meets on Sundays in real life to play together at a table, I actually just started running Curse of Strahd, which is the first module I've actually ever run in all of this time. I've always done homebrew. I didn't really, until 5th edition, like the modules seemed just sort of, they were idea points, something to pull something out of. Right. But 5th edition has made it really cool and cohesive and easy to pull from. And of course, I was drawn to Curse of Strahd because I've loved the Ravenloft series forever, reading Curse of Adam and because that was all in the box.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, since a lot of people listening may not know of your podcast, tell me about the world. I want to know about the world that you guys are playing in.
Yeah, so we're set in it's a medieval fantasy world, so that starting basis. But the world we're actually playing in, so the continent itself is called the Plains, spelled as you would for Planes. So like the magical plains. Okay. And just the specific continent they're in is ruled by the Eladrin, actually. So it's a world that's very close to the Fae world. So magic and reality in these two worlds kind of interplay. So the Fae are sort of the ruling source in this place. So strange magical things happen all the time. And the 3 PCs are working for an organization called the Sisters of Sorrow, which is sort of based on like the 3 fates, quasi, it's all about the past, present, future, God force sort of thing. So they're cool. Yeah, mercenaries that just get the job done and have their own sort of nefarious intentions that the maidens haven't quite figured out, but maybe are starting to learn.
I like the Greek myth kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tendrils in there.
Yeah, and they're based out of the Elysium Keep. So if you're nod to Greek mythology, right there all through.
Perfect.
Yeah. So is this one of many homebrew worlds that you've created?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks.
Following in your uncle's footsteps.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Just creating cities, places, lands, encounters for this many years. You have quite the collection.
I love it.
Do you ever think about maybe writing some of that up and putting it up on the DMs Guild?
Man, I would love to. And what's really great about this whole experience is that I've met so many talented content creators, especially through the DMs Guild. And actually, so we're on Don't Split the Podcast Network. So James Intricasso has written a bunch of stuff for you guys. So the Cellar of Death. So getting to know him and talk to him about all this stuff, I'm like, yeah, I totally could do this. It's just every day the book is opening wider and wider, and so the possibility is definitely there that I'll be writing something up in the near future.
Well, James is good people, so
listen to him.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually just did on his show Tabletop Babble, he interviewed a bunch of the DMs for Podcast of Annihilation as well, so if you want to check that out, I think it's up on all the places.
Do it. Make it up. I think I retweeted that earlier today.
Heck yeah.
Because I was like, sweet, I like it.
It's good stuff.
I like how the community,
Once
goes.
again, it's an awesome community.
Yeah, we have
everyone
Josh
supports.
and Lauren and Joe on there with me. So a bunch of the other cool podcasts.
Sweet. So yeah, did you know a lot of those folks ahead of time before Podcast of Annihilation happened? How did that? I think Josh reached out to you. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't actually know anyone. This community, walking into this, I wasn't really sure how big it was or how many people were out there. In terms of podcasts, I'd only listened to Drunks and Dragons and the Adventure Zone for actual play D&D podcasts, and then a ton of other ones. So that was a really cool opening up the world experience. And Josh, ended up calling me one day. I was just standing in my kitchen, and he sent me a Twitter message. He's like, "Hey, can I call you about this D&D project?" I'm like, "Who are you?" Okay, sure, great. Here's my number. I hope I don't regret this. And then he called me. Super nice guy. Invited me to do this thing. I was like, what? This is amazing. So I was on board ever since then.
That's so cool.
It's funny how things like that, right? You're like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do. And then you're like, boom.
Obviously.
Yeah. Like, what if I hadn't picked up that phone? It's a very interesting cinematic moment.
Yeah, it's one of those sliding doors type things, right?
Absolutely.
What would you be doing right now instead?
Probably still talking about D&D.
My one weakness.
We love it.
So when you were doing more theater, were you a director? Were you a writer? Were you a producer? What kind of? I have a theory about Dungeon Master, so that's why this is a leading question.
Yeah, I was sort of all of the above. I hadn't really found my place, I think. I did a lot of acting primarily to begin with, but over time, directing and producing became a huge, huge interest for me. And I think now the beautiful thing about being a Dungeon Master is I get to do all three.
Yeah.
Especially, with all the back end stuff too. I'm producing and I'm directing a little bit, and I get to do my funny character voices, but I don't have to do them all the time, which is just fantastic.
Yeah.
What's your theory?
Yeah. Does that match your theory?
Yeah. No, I think so, because I think
Director.
stage manager, producer. That type really kind of coalesces around a dungeon master who's able to keep a group of people meeting every week. Right. Just having the it's not even like a skill set or anything. It's really just the gumption of like, we're gonna do it. That's like you did when you sent out the text.
Right.
And my
charisma to be the party leader.
Step
forward and start it up.
And people will follow, and they're like, "Yeah, that is a good idea."
We shall do it.
Right.
You have my sword.
And my axe.
Precisely.
So had you been to a Gen Con before this year?
I had not. So that was
What did you think? This was a good one to go to.
Well, for me, I'd never been. I had no frame of reference. Brittany and I were just so new to it. And it was incredible for the reason that we got to meet so many people like us who are working on these cool projects and just so open and wonderful. To be honest, we didn't spend much time at the con at all. We just hung out with everybody, just meeting up with people in bars at the end of the evening, running dungeons that we wrote on napkins in 10 minutes, and playing at the table without dice. That kind of stuff was why Gen Con was just so remarkable.
Yeah, you can go without ever doing anything official and still feel like you attended the con.
Exactly. It was just the people being there. I think it just continues to surprise us, the warm welcome that we've been getting in this community.
So did you go as a official ambassadors of Venture Maidens or just as Celeste and Brittany fans?
So don't split the podcast network. They actually got us DM's passes.
Oh, cool.
And we were on the network panel there. So as one of the shows on there, we got to talk about, it was actually really cool. It was the same exact day that you guys gave us the green light to announce that we were on Podcast of Annihilation.
Oh,
so it's cool. We got
perfect.
that 2 hours before we went into this panel. And so I was just bursting with joy as I told everybody in the room, hey, we get to do this super cool thing now. It was a lot of fun.
What was their reaction like?
It was great.
Good.
People were super warm, welcoming, wanted to know what we couldn't tell them about the book. wanted secrets.
Of course.
Didn't give anything away. Other than, like, I think the Tomb of Annihilation is just, it's super cool. I love all the content in the book and was just so stoked to be able to unleash that.
Unleash. That's a good word for it.
So your podcast hasn't aired yet, right?
No, it did. Yeah,
It did,
yes. People who are listening to this on the Twitch, it is out, and in podcast form, it'll be out for a month or so. Yeah.
So did you go through the book and find something that just spoke to you that you wanted to explore, or how did you guys figure out what part of this you were going to do?
Yeah, so I was hanging back to hear what the other dungeon masters were going to do for a long time because I'm like, I want to be different, or like, you know. So everybody picked these cool sort of like reasonable what you could do in 2 hours.
Reasonable.
And then I just made the decision to jump all the way to chapter, 5 or 6, and play with the Yuan-ti and do that dungeon because that was a great decision. So our podcast episode is a mess, but it's a fun mess.
It is a fun
when your
mess.
PCs, decide to charge in there and take on a big bad with no weapons or armor, you have
happens.
a group with you. It was a very Suicide Squad sort of.
And they were playing the same characters that they play in the...
No, they were not. So we just did one-shot characters.
I was going to ask, like, what happens? And, like, these one-offs, and then you have to go back to the... Like, it was just a really bad dream.
No. It was just a one-shot that was... And, we ended up playing for about 4 hours, so I had to cut 2 hours out of it to make it fit. And I have a hard time stopping people if they're having fun or, really exploring a character moment. I just let people go. So it was my burden to bear editing 4 hours down into 2. But I think it turned out pretty well.
So you, at the beginning of the adventure, you flipped a die. You did, it was a 1d4. Mm-hmm. When I was listening, I'm like, were you determining what you were going to run, or was that just where they ended up when they teleported?
It was where they ended up when they teleported.
Oh, okay.
I think that's actually a mechanic that was in the book.
Oh, you might be right.
I do believe so. Don't give me too much credit for that one.
The only reason I asked is because
on your team.
Yeah, good old Chris Perkins. He put it in there. No, what's his Nerd Poker? Dan Telford did something similar, but he just rolled the d4 to see like which side trek they were going to run.
That's cool.
And ended up doing that. So there was. The element of randomness and just what you were going to run is always fun.
I feel like this adventure really lends itself to randomness.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's really cool. I mean, just the potentiality, just all the additional side quests and content and things you can throw in, but you do have that strong overarching story. I think this was a really well-designed book in general, so congrats, you guys.
Thanks.
It was all Shelley.
And you helped a little.
I mean, I came up with that one funny name.
You were there for me.
I was lifting you up.
You lifted
Cheerleader.
me up.
That's really important.
Yeah, it is.
So Love lift
moral
us
support.
up.
Glad you like my book.
It's really good. Yeah, and the other two are okay.
Yeah. Well, I like the ones I didn't actually work on best.
So Celeste, I just realized in this picture that you sent us that you are a druid at a very sacred site in England.
Oh,
yes, I made a Circle of the Moon pact to always have dungeon master skills. So I've traded my soul to the great stones of the ancients.
Nice.
For that power.
You look very impressed in the picture. Yeah, I could do that.
I just pulled it right off my website. I'm like, what's a picture that looks like I'm a dungeon master?
That is
serious.
I can see that
face
peering over a screen.
Yeah.
Stonehenge in the back, making all. That's a very fantasy-like place. It really is amazing.
I would love to run a D&D game there or play in a D&D game there.
Sure.
Just spread it out right there.
I'm sure the Mounties or whatever the
not let you do that.
They might. It's D&D.
Did you try?
It's very
Did you try when you were there?
I didn't have any friends with me. It's me playing D&D by myself.
Just start getting random strangers. Be like, would you like to participate in some fantasy?
Would you like to? Would you like to go on an adventure? Roll this die.
You know what makes British people more comfortable is when you imitate their accent at them.
Right, absolutely. They love that.
I do it all the time.
Absolutely.
Would you like a spot of tea?
Yeah.
Would you like some Vegemite? We're going to be talking to, Yeah, I know.
The Sans Pants guys, they'll be here soon.
Exactly. I was just going to say, we got to get our, good day, mate. We got to get our Australians in there.
I love those guys. They just, so funny. It's makes me angry how funny they are.
I love that. That is a thing where you're like, you're too funny for it to be real.
Dang it. Why?
It's otherworldly.
Have some of that over.
Yeah, right. Can I have some of your funny juice?
We can make them unfunny.
We can. If anyone can, we can.
Poster.
We'll bring it down. All right. So you create a list of all the depressing subjects we're gonna bring up.
Yes.
We can make. It was really good to talk to you, Celeste. I feel like I want to pick your brain more about the intersections of theater and RPG mechanics. So we'll do it more.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk to you all anytime. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Where can people find more about the Venture Maidens and what you're doing?
Yeah, so the best place to go if you want to find out about the Venture Maidens is our website, theventuremaidens.com. There you can find all of our social media links, our Twitch streaming schedule, links to our YouTube, our Patreon, everything we're doing. So that's all up on there. But of course, if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're really active there. So follow @VentureMaidens. Or if you want to talk to me personally, @C Conowitch on Twitter. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you, talk to you, very engaged with our community, and just so appreciative to be able to hang out with you all today.
Me too.
Me too.
Me 3.
Hey.
Good stuff. Yeah, go check out the Dungeon Delve feed. I think we did now have it up on Google Play and iTunes and basically anywhere you can get podcasts. Your episode went up on Wednesday, I believe?
On Thursday. And then, of course, you can also find it on our streams of Venture Maidens if you type that into iTunes or anywhere else. But yeah, on the feed right now since Thursday.
Check it out. It's good stuff. And, drop some F-bombs while you're at it.
Yeah, you know what? And venture away.
Adventure.
While you're at it.
Oh. See?
Oh, my hashtag.
That's such a good catchphrase.
I know.
Venture away, Celeste.
Venture away. We yell it drunkenly at the end of every episode. It's fantastic.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Well, thanks. And we'll have you on again soon.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Say hi to the crew for us.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.
She's good people.
I like her.
Yeah.
Fellow theater.
Yes. The classics.
I know.
Did you ever do any Greek stuff?
Me? No.
No? Did you ever do any Shakespeare?
Not because I wanted to.
Oh. Did you ever do
Any theater?
any theater?
Nope. It was the only degree where I didn't have to take a math class.
That's why I did it, Dad.
I did it.
Yep. That's all those thousands of dollars
Yeah.
for podcasting.
So I could do this.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
Yeah, we had all that background so that we could talk to other people
one day
about their theater careers.
Theater things.
Yeah, and then what they were doing with it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Are you going back to Ithaca anytime soon?
No.
No?
Maybe over the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like my summer place.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's on the Finger Lakes.
It's very beautiful.
It is. The summertime is great, but now it's going to get into the not great zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to get a little cold.
Chile,
Or not. Who
McWillie.
knows what's happening with our weather? Who knows?
I don't know.
Maybe it'll be warm.
Who knows? But we are out of here, I think, for this podcast episode. What do you think about that? Yeah?
Right?
Yeah.
Ryan says, please just kill me now.
Kill me now with a 10-sided die.
We can do that.
Oh, I just got a great idea.
What?
Let's do a spoof musical.
Okay.
Yeah, you know how they
Spam-a-lot?
Yeah, let's do a Spam-a-lot, but you know how they do episodes of popular television shows? They're the musical episode. We could do the musical episode of Dragon Talk.
We tried that, I think.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I tried to do the intro to this, and now we're doing the outro. I will kill you with this 20-sided die. It will go in your mouth until you die, die, die. It's a die, get it? It's a pun on die and die. No, sorry.
It will go in your mouth until you die, die, die? We got to pull that.
Dude,
his wrapping up again.
There are rules for improv. Have you ever heard of the yes and, not the ew? No. God.
There's the yes.
What did
and,
you just do?
And there's the ew. No.
It's
no.
the Shelley School of Improv.
Hence why I didn't really do any theater. Nobody wanted to work with me.
They're like, you're terrible.
Not the ew, no, girl.
That's why you're a critic.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a theater critic.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, then fine. We won't do the musical interview.
I don't know if I can.
All right. Well, when we get Nathan Lane on here, we got to do something.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Cool.
Because he plays Dungeons and Dragons, I'm sure, right? Or Lin-Manuel Miranda. Come on.
Well, we're now like a degree away from him.
Yeah, I know, right?
Thanks to Patrick Rothfuss.
Yeah. So
if he doesn't play now, he will.
He will.
He will.
Oh, he will.
We will make that happen.
With a dye in his mouth. No, we don't want to do that.
Maybe.
All right. So what do you want to say in closing here? Anything you want to wrap this up?
Really fun. Thanks for being here.
We are high energy today.
It's a moving day.
It's a moving day. I know. It's terrible. So you can follow me. I'm at Greg Tito. Let me know if you have any good, Twitter lyrics that I can steal and put into our musical.
Die. It's catchy. I'll give you that.
See, I had it. I got something going to be a big hit. Where can people find you?
If you want more of this excitement that you're getting right now,
Woo!
Twitter at Shelley Moo, or find me on Facebook, the writer Shelley Mazanoble. Not the other one. It's very boring there. Don't go to my regular Facebook.
No, yeah, right, exactly.
No.
There's nothing cool there.
No.
But what is cool is finding out about what we do here at DungeonsandDragons.com. You can also follow it on Wizards_DND. Again, we record these live so you can see all this hilarity happening and also the stuff that gets edited out on twitch.tv/DND. TV. Twitch.tv/DND. That's going to be in the musical. You got to have that, right? It's going to be catchy. People are going to sing it, whatever. Ryan just yawned. Just throwing that out there.
I know. It's like 105 degrees now.
And we're just done. All right. Thank you, guys. We will bring it for the next one. I promise.
Broughton. The next one in 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time on Dragon Talk.
Bye.
Wait, what?
I'm just distracted by seeing us.
We're so cool.
I don't like it.
Oh.
We're straight.